A major ruling from Burlington's federal courthouse today. A judge granted immediate release to Rümeysa Ozturk, the Turkish Tufts University student detained by ICE agents over 6 weeks ago. She has been held at the South Louisiana Correction Center ever since. ABC 22's Matt Holderman was there today for the activities both inside and outside the courthouse. He now joins me live in the studio.
Yeah, Lauren, that's right. It was a celebration outside the courthouse today, almost exactly the same as last week when Mohsen Madawi was released, with tears of joy streaming down the faces of Rümeysa Ozturk, her attorneys, and her supporters. The judge ripped into the federal government for detaining her in the first place, calling it a traumatic event and saying she meets all standards for release.
She is free! She is free!
9 days after Mohsen Madawi walked out the front doors of Burlington's federal courthouse a free man, an almost copy and paste ruling came down Friday afternoon, with senior U.S. District Court Judge William Sessions III ordering the federal government to release Rümeysa Ozturk from detention on bail over 1,000 miles away in Louisiana.
Rümeysa's going home.
Federal immigration officials first detained the Turkish Tufts University student 6.5 weeks ago, shortly after revoking her student visa, saying she engaged in pro-Hamas speech and posed a threat to U.S. foreign policy interests. Ozturk's attorneys say all she did was write an op-ed in her campus newspaper calling for human rights and dignity for Palestinians. They argued her detainment violates her right to free speech under the First Amendment and noted the federal government had no other evidence to justify her detainment.
When did speaking up against oppression become a crime? When did speaking up against genocide become something to be imprisoned for?
Inside the courtroom, Ozturk's team had her testify over Zoom and called 3 other witnesses to the stand, including a doctor who discussed the serious deterioration of Ozturk's health during her time in prison. In just the first week of May, Ozturk says she suffered 4 severe asthma attacks for which she needed medical attention, and in the middle of Friday's hearing, she had another one that required her to leave for about 15 minutes. In the end, Judge Sessions ruled her detainment does violate her First Amendment and due process rights, saying, quote, "The government has not presented a legitimate case, and she is suffering as a result of her incarceration."
But she can come home, she can come back to her community, she can come back to Somerville, she can come back to her academics, and she can continue the life that she should be able to live.
Shortly after the ruling, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded, saying federal court judges should not be dictating U.S. foreign policy, and she defended the Trump administration's agenda.
The President and the Department of Homeland Security are well within their legal rights to deport illegal immigrants. As for visa revocations, the Secretary of State has the right to do that as well. It is a privilege, not a right, to come to this country on a visa.
Judge Sessions to either grant a stay on today's ruling or at least make Ozturk subject to conditions of release imposed by ICE officials. Judge Sessions denied both of those requests, imposing only one condition of release, saying the Burlington Community Justice Center must support and supervise Ozturk through monthly meetings and give him reports of how those meetings go and how Ozturk is doing. Ozturk will now work through immigration court proceedings, and her legal team says they will continue working to fully vindicate her rights. Reporting live in the studio, Matt Holderman, ABC 22 News.